And please confirm to me, all of you are get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Yes. Right. Good evening. Good evening to all guys. Good evening to all. And check it what we completed in the last session, what we understood, what we completed in the last class. Just one time check the content, sir. In the last class, I started object orientation, OOPS concepts, object orientation. To prepare applications, what are the various types of applications are available? If you observe this, 4 types of applications are existed. What are the 4 types of applications now? Unstructured programming languages. Second one is structured programming languages. Third one is object-oriented programming languages, aspect-oriented programming languages. Overall, 4 types of programming languages are existed. That's okay, good. Next one is, immediately we are having few questions. What are the various questions here we are getting now? That's it. The first one is like which one? That's it. Unstructured programming languages, and what are the differences between unstructured programming languages and structured programming languages? This question here we are getting. What exactly the differences between unstructured programming languages and structured programming languages? This question here we are getting now. And the next question is, what are the differences between structured programming languages and object-oriented programming languages? Another question here we are getting. Next one is, after that, another question is, what are the differences between object-oriented programming languages and what next one here now? And aspect-oriented programming languages. This is another one. Right, sir. If you observe these points, no, then the first question here answer if you provide there. What are the differences between unstructured programming languages and structured programming languages? If you observe these differences, no, answer is very clear. Unstructured programming languages are outdated programming languages. These programming languages are not providing at present application requirements. Unstructured programming languages are outdated programming languages. These programming languages are not providing at present application requirements. That means not sufficient for our at present application requirements. Examples are like which one? Basic and Fortran. Next one is structured programming languages are not outdated programming languages. These programming languages are utilized still for our application at present application requirements. All of you this clearly now. So now this is like which one, unstructured programming languages, and the next one is like which one? Structured programming languages. All of you observe this clearly. Next one, after completion of this. Apart from this, unstructured programming languages are not having proper structure to prepare applications, whereas the structured programming languages are having proper structure to prepare our applications. Unstructured programming languages are using mnemonic codes. These codes are low-level representation. These are available in a very less number, and they will provide very less number of features to the applications. Next one is unstructured programming languages are using only go-to statement to define flow of execution, whereas the structured programming languages are having number of alternatives to define flow of execution. Right. Unstructured programming languages are not having functions of feature. Functions of feature code reusability is not possible in unstructured programming languages, but structured programming languages are having functions of feature. Then the structured programming languages are able to provide code reusability. These are the content here, we can understand it. See, then functional programming languages are available, sir. Functional programming languages are available. that functional programming languages and procedure-oriented programming languages and structured programming languages all are similar. Max, they're like which one similar with small differences now. Functional programming languages and procedure-oriented programming languages both are same as is. Why? Because where that programming languages are following some procedure-oriented features, function-oriented features, like which one functions. Next one is like which one, then lambdas or maps or reduces, and this kind of features are available. All these features are followed by some other programming languages. They are nothing but which one, functional programming languages or procedure-oriented programming languages. That is separate category. We are not including them here. But basically, unstructured, structured, object-oriented, and next one is like which one? Aspect-oriented. This type of categorization here we are providing. That's it. Good. This is what exactly the content I'm telling you. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my point or not? All of you are getting my point or not? No response. People are asking doubts only, but they are not giving responses now. Right. Motion power. Then you ask this question, I given response. Right. Anyway. Next one is then after that, after completion of this, just I have given one more question. What about this question here I have given to you? What are the differences between structured programming languages and object-oriented programming languages? What are the differences between structured programming languages and object-oriented programming languages? Right, only two differences are given. Now let's come for this few more. First point here, what I've given, structured programming languages are providing difficult approach to represent real world entities in the form of coding parts, but object-oriented programming languages are providing simplified approach to represent all real world entities in the form of coding parts. Listen, sir, all of you understand this clearly. Next one, already I've given one example in the last class there. If you take a bank account and try to prepare that bank account and its operations with the C programming language and try to do the same thing with the C, that means with the Java. In the case of Java, it's very simple, but in the case of C, it is somewhat difficult. Right, sir. Right, sir. Now, this is regular class of core Java only. Object orientation I'm discussing. Swati. Yeah, we can continue with this. It's regular class only. Next one is modularity is not good in structured programming languages. Modularity is very good in object-oriented programming languages. What is this modularity actually? What is the meaning of module and what is this modularity actually? Right, all of you observe this clearly now. Modularity and module is nothing but we have some huge requirements. Whenever we are having huge requirement, that we are able to divide into number of pieces. And for each and every piece, we will provide solution individually. When we provide solutions individually, we will combine all these solutions as a big solution. So here, first initially we divide the total requirement into number of pieces, that where each and every piece is called as which one? No, is a module. That each and every piece is called as which one? A module. Yes, exactly. Arun Kumar Gupta. Code is divided into number of parts. That each and every part is called as a module. Inside this module, related code is existed. That's fine. So that the division, that representation of the modules are not good in the case of structured programming languages, but that the representation and module representation, module processing is very good in the case of like which one? Object orientation. Right, sir. This is one point. Second point, the third point here, what I'm telling you, right, sir. Right, sir. What I'm telling you, the next point here, what I'm telling you, all of you observe this clearly, abstraction is not good in structured programming languages, but whereas abstraction is very good in object-oriented programming languages. As all of you observe this clearly now. Abstraction is not good. Abstraction is not good in the case of like which one? No, structured programming languages, but abstraction is very good in the case of right object-oriented programming languages. That's it. Right, sir. What is an abstraction? Again, this is a question now. What is an abstraction? See, for example, just in the case of Java or maybe in any other programming language, in any other programming language, if I declare something in a package, for example, if I declare something in a package, is that content is visible in outside? Now tell me. For example, I have taken a carry bag, sir. A carry bag. It's a black color carry bag, not plastic, not anyone. Otherwise, one bag, one cloth related bag. I have taken it. Inside this bag, I put 1 kg of gold. In the bag, I have taken 1 kg of gold. Now tell me, is that gold is visible in outside? Can I see that gold in outside? Is it possible for me to see what is there inside this bag? No, we are unable to see that. Got it or not? That means our bag is hiding our internal content or not? Our bag is not coming in outside or not? That means that inside the bag, what we have there, that is hide or not? So my point here. So this is what exactly the meaning of which one? Abstraction. Right. As of now, just understand it. What exactly the meaning of abstraction? Just I'm able to give only one definition. A simple definition. We can understand it. What is that definition here? I'm telling process of hiding the data. Right? Hiding some internal content, not visible in outside, but they are available really, but they are not visible in outside. They are not exposed in outside. They are hidden. So this is called as like which one? Abstraction. Answer my point clearly. What I'm telling you. Right, so the process of hiding that internal content is called as like which one? Abstraction. This is a point here. Next one. After understanding this abstraction like this, it is not good in the case of structured programming languages, but it is very good in the case of like which one? Object-oriented programming languages. How can we say this abstraction is very good in the case of object-oriented programming languages? No, right, sir. Understand all of you observe this clearly. In object orientation, if you observe this, abstraction is one of the powerful feature. Abstraction is one of the powerful feature in object orientation, is a core concept inside this object orientation. So definitely that abstraction is existed in object oriented programming languages, but its implementation may be available depending on programming languages. Its implementations are available in programming languages. All of you observe this clearly. Implementations are depending on programming languages. C++ is able to achieve abstraction at one level. Java is able to achieve abstraction at a different level. Some other programming language is able to achieve abstraction in a different level. If we come for this Java, for example, abstraction we are able to achieve by using packages, by using modules. In Java 9 version, JPMS is available. Modules concept is available. By using modules maybe. And the next one is after completion of this, by using classes we are able to achieve classes and methods and packages at these many levels here we are able to achieve abstraction. Not only that, by declaring abstract classes, by declaring interfaces also, we are able to achieve like which one? Abstraction. N number of 5 to 6 alternatives are available to achieve abstraction in the case of like which one? Java programming language. So Java is an object-oriented programming language. But if you go for C programming language, basically it is a procedure-oriented programming language. And basically it is like which one? No, structured programming languages where packages kind of abstraction level is not possible. Of course, method level abstraction is available, function level abstraction is available, but it is not having like packages level abstraction, classes level abstraction, abstract classes level abstraction, interfaces level abstraction. All these things are not available in the case of C programming language. So because of that reason, we can understand clearly abstraction is not good in structured programming languages, and abstraction is very good in object-oriented programming languages. So what is the need of abstraction in the sense? See, loosely coupled design and tightly coupled design, some kind of concepts are going on there where it will be useful. One thing I'm telling you, for example, I want to give only services to you. I don't want to give implementation. I want to hide that implementation to you. Manjira ma'am, for example, we are asking some services to me, no? You're asking some services to me, no? Yes, two approaches are available. I prepared the services. I will submit the total services code and everything to you. That's okay. That is one approach. But second approach is which one? I will keep the services along with me only, but only service names I will provide to you. But you don't know what is the implementation of my services there. Just we know only the names of services that we are able to access. But implementation part is available with me now. So what I'm doing now, here I abstracted my implementation internally, but I'm giving only names of the services to you. Observe this clear enough. So in that way, we are able to achieve like which one? advantages with abstraction. So hiding in the sense like, see, simply speaking, security is one example. If you abstract something there, automatically you're able to get like which one? Security. Right, sir? All of you observe this clearly now. Abstraction main advantage we are able to get like which one? Security. And not only that, encapsulation also here we are able to achieve through by using this along with this abstraction. So a number of advantages are available. So what meaning of abstraction? Pardon Srikanth sir, just I have given information to you. What is the meaning of abstraction? The process of hiding the content is nothing but which one? Abstraction. Right, sir. Authentication auth is different, sir. Why you are relating that concept to this abstraction? No, that is totally different. Leave it anyway. So abstraction level is not good in structured programming languages, whereas abstraction level is very good in the case of which one? Object-oriented programming languages. This is one point. Next one is the fourth one. Fourth content here we have to understand clearly. What about this fourth one? No. Security is not good in structured programming languages, but security is very good. Security is very good in security is very good in object-oriented programming languages. Right. Security is not good in structured programming languages, but whereas security is very good in object-oriented programming languages. Tell me, sir, what is the reason for it now? What is the reason for it now? Tell me. At least already I given answer for it, but you have to say answer for me. There is such a. Now tell me how security is very good in object-oriented programming language and why security is not good in a structured programming languages. Just 2 minutes back, I have given answer for this question. There is such an. Yeah, exactly. Because of abstraction is one reason. Because of abstraction, I can conclude then security is good in the case of like which one? Object orientation, but it is not good in the case of like which one? Structured programming languages. So this is exactly the reason here what we are able to provide now. Why? Because if you hide the content along with the encapsulation, yes, Bhushan Power, yes, you are right. Encapsulation and abstraction. If you take both of them, automatically security will come. Security encapsulation. Again, I'm telling you, encapsulation. Later, I will discuss with encapsulation is nothing but like which one? No, appending the content with like which one here. That means what I'm telling you, gathering multiple components at a single location. Gathering different components at a single location, that is nothing but encapsulation. Then we will discuss in object orientation features. But now security in the sense like which one? Wherever abstraction is available, there automatically security is an advantage. Wherever abstraction is available, there automatically security is an advantage. This is one point. Answer my point now. So pointers concept is different. Pointers is a small feature that is provided by C programming language or maybe C++ programming language. C++ is also an object-oriented programming language, but there also pointers are available. Ahmad, Ishanullah. Then C++ is an object-oriented programming language, but still pointers are available. So how can you say like that? No, that is not the way now. Pointers is a programming language feature. That's okay, fine. But I'm talking about like which one? Object-oriented feature. So that's why because of that reason, security is depending on a number of aspects, where one of the aspect is like which one? No, abstraction. Right, sir. Right, sir. This is like which one? You know? Yes. Security. Because of the security only, object orientation is getting more demand. This is one point. Right, so now come on. Now next one is like which one? Then fifth point. Shareability is not good in a structured programming languages, but whereas shareability is very good. Shareability is very good in object-oriented programming languages. Yes, all of you observe this clearly. No, shareability is not good in structured programming languages, whereas shareability is very good in object-oriented programming languages. How, sir? How can we specify the shareability? No, very good or not good? No, like this. First of all, tell me what is shareability. Come on, guys. I'm asking to all of you, what is shareability? Right, sir. What is shareability? Right. Polymorphism, distribution. Right, sir. Right, sir. Guys, and see this one. Better to ask related questions now. Now people are asking what is the difference between JDK 1 and JDK 14 now. Now what is the topic I'm discussing and what is the question you are asking? At least then try to ask that related questions. At present content, I'm discussing about some concepts here. As per this, you have to give some questions now. I can answer for it. But if you're asking about the differences between JDK 1 to JDK 14 in the sense, how many differences are available? Total Java you're asking at a time now. How it is possible now? Just at least think about the present topic. Why you're thinking about 14 version features now? Think about the present topic and try to raise the questions on this present topic. That will be good. That's it. Good. Now tell me, what is my question of what is the meaning of shareability? Okay, guys. I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to understand. I'm giving the shareability point. Right, sir. Good. How many of you are attending this session, sir? Now tell me at present. How many members are attending my class now? How many of you are attending? How many members are attending my class now? Do you have any exact count? 96 plus 80, 200. People are calculating. Oh, sir, how can you say 100 or 30 plus or 96 plus? Narendra, how can you say, sir, 96 plus, 100 plus or 200 plus? No. Right, sir. Good. Yes, it's a guess, right? 40 plus, sure. Havish, okay, fine. Around 80 plus, Kusma. Okay. One day I have seen classroom. That classroom members, okay, fine. See, the real thing is which one? Some members are not joining with that classroom, but some other outsiders are also joining with that classroom code actually. So that's why it's not perfect anyway. I have 150 plus Nehargiri. Right, guys? Anyway, it's okay. Leave it. How many members are attending? That doesn't matter. I don't want to reveal it. Then whatever the figures you are giving, no, that figures are not at all suitable. Leave it. Yeah, whatever they may be. Some people are giving 200 also, even not that. Yeah, but I'm giving clarity to you. I'm giving one figure to you, not figure. Some imagination I'm telling to you, know, and not 1000 plus, sir. How it is possible now? In regular classes, in the offline classes, we can expect it. Yeah. Okay, fine. Now I'm giving 300 odd, 300 plus members are available. Just leave it, whatever it may be. Yeah, leave it. Not 500. Okay, leave it. But some figure is available. That doesn't matter now. Observe this. For example, 100 members are attending, sir. No issues. Leave it. 100 members are attending. Okay, fine. 100 members are attending my session at present now. But how many? See, 100 members are listening my class, and I am teaching the Java programming language to all 100 members. For example. Now tell me, all of you understand it clearly? No? 100 members I am attending there. 100 members are attending in my class, and I am teaching these 100 members. That means what is the meaning of it? Whatever the knowledge I'm having with me, I'm giving the total knowledge to all 100 members at a time or not? Think a minute about it. At a time I'm giving my knowledge to all 100 members or not? I'll have observed this. Even it is not one after another. At a time 100 members are available in the session now. Now I'm teaching my content to all 100 members. Is it clear or not? I'm teaching my content to all 100. That means I'm sharing my subject to all 100 members at a time. So this is nothing but which one? Shareability. This is what exactly the meaning of like which one? Shareability. So I have a single copy of Java. Am I right or not? In my mind, I have a single copy of Java. That single copy I'm sharing to how many copies now? To how many members I'm sharing my copy now? Let's say, for example, 100 members. So now here, single copy of Java, I'm sharing to all 100 members. So it's the meaning of like which one? Shareability. In the same way, in application development also, I have some library. I'm able to prepare some library in the form of a package. I'm able to prepare some API, some library. But 100 programs are running parallelly. All 100 programs required my API. All 100 programs required my API. That means my, like what I'm telling you, my library. So what I will do now, I will share this single copy of library to all 100 programs parallelly. At a time, I can share the single copy to all 100 programs. So this is because of like which one? Packages kind of thing only. This is because of like which one? Modularity only. Modularization only we are able to achieve this. That's why here we are able to say like which one? shareability is very good in the case of like which one? Object oriented programming languages, but shareability is not good in the case of like which one? No, structured programming languages. If we come for this Java, we are able to achieve shareability max at n number of levels now. At different levels of shareability is available. Even I'm telling you, static keyword is able to improve shareability. Static keyword is able to improve shareability. Not only the static keyword, like what I'm telling you, methods are also improving shareability. And next one is packages are improving shareability. Not all these things now directly, but abstract classes and interfaces are improving shareability. And polymorphism is mainly for which purpose? No, shareability purpose only. In the case of this object orientation, of course, public keyword is also be providing more scope. It is providing, it is giving path for shareability. No, public keyword. So these many alternatives are available in the case of which one? Object oriented programming languages to improve shareability. But which is not good, in the case of like which one can know, which is not good in the case of like which one? Structured programming languages. Yes, sir. Polymorphism is also be improving which one? Shareability. These are the points here we have to understand clearly. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it clearly or not? Right, sir. That's fine. Right, sir. Now this is the point here what I have given there clearly. Right, sir. Right, sir. Leave this content here. This is like which one? Shareability. Next one is after completion of this, that another content is like which one? Reusability is not good. Reusability is not good in structured programming languages, but reusability is very good. Reusability is very good in object oriented programming languages. Come on, guys. Again, there is a question. Reusability is not good in structured programming languages, but reusability is very good in the case of this which one? Like object oriented programming languages. First of all, now tell me what exactly the meaning of reusability. What is the meaning of this reusability? Right, sir. Now tell me what is the meaning of this reusability. That point here we have to understand clearly. Right? Can you tell me what exactly the meaning of reusability, sir? One time if we define that we can use any number of times. One time if we define that we can use any number of times. That's my question. One time if we define any number of times here we are able to define. Very number of times we can use. That's the meaning of like which one? Reusability. Right? I'm giving clarity to you now. If you go for programming languages like which one? C, C++, Java, wherever it may be. Methods are providing reusability. Of course, functions are methods, they are providing reusability. Answer my point now. But in the case of C programming language, apart from these functions, where is a chance to perform this reusability? In the case of C programming language, where is a chance of performing this reusability apart from these functions? No chances. Only one level of reusability is available. But at the same time, if you come for this Java programming language, functions are providing reusability. Packages are providing reusability. Methods are providing reusability, and packages are providing reusability. Not only these two, one of the powerful object-oriented feature is inheritance. That inheritance is providing like which one? Reusability. Inheritance is mainly for which one? Reusability of the coding purpose only. One time we can define, then we can utilize at any number of times. Get that reusability here we are getting in the case of like which one? No, inheritance concepts here. No. So because of these things here, what I am telling to you, structured programming languages are not having inheritance kind of features. Structured programming languages are not having inheritance kind of feature. But what I'm telling you, object-oriented programming languages are having like which one? No, like reusability content. Why? Because inheritance concept is available. That's why that means reusability is very good in the case of object orientation, but reusability is not good in structured programming languages. Right, sir. Good. Guys, one more point I'm telling to you. Might be some people are asking what exactly the difference between function and a method in Java. Function and method in Java. People are asking this question now. But I'm giving clarity to you. In general, in object orientation, there is no concept like functions. That similar concept is available, that is methods. That means inside a class, if you write anything, any behavior, that is called as like which one? Method. At one side, I'm telling to you, in Java, functions concept is not existed. Only methods concept is available. Why? Because in Java, everything we have to provide inside the classes only. So functions, methods are available. Same as functions, but inside the classes, there is nothing but which one? Methods. But if you go for the Python kind of programming languages, Python is having both the procedural orientation, function orientation, and object orientation. Both are mixed in the case of Python. So in Python, we can differentiate clearly what is function and what is method. Then what exactly the difference here? Now, what is function and what is method here? If you observe there in the case of this Python, answer is very clear. In the case of Python, if you write any behavior in outside of the classes without using classes, not inside the classes, if you write any behavior in outside of the classes without using classes, then it is called as which one? A function. But if you write any behavior inside a class, if you write any behavior inside a class, then that behavior inside the class is called as which one? A method. So this only the difference here we can identify between function and method. Right, sir. Now in general, in the case of this Java, and outside of the classes we can't do anything. So because of that is in Java only, we are having like which one of methods. All of you observe this clearly what I'm telling you. Right, sir. Now, this is clearly like which one no. Another important point here we have to understand clearly about like which one no functions and methods here. That's okay, good. Right, sir. In Java, we are unable to write any method in outside of the class. Everything here we are able to write like which one inside the classes or maybe inside the abstract classes or inside the interfaces only. Right, sir. So inheritance. What is inheritance? This is a question here again. Nothing, sir. In object-oriented programming languages, we are able to prepare the programs by using classes. Everything we are going to do with the classes only. Good. Extending behaviors of one class to another class. Extending properties and behaviors from one class to another class. That extension is called as which one? Inheritance. Strictly speaking, inheritance is a relation between classes. Inheritance is a relation between classes. It able to bring variables and methods from one class to another class. It is a relation between two classes. It able to bring variables and methods from one class to another class. Then it is called as like which one? No, like inheritance. That inheritance main advantage is like which one? Reusability. That's it, clear. So guys, now all of you observe this clearly. Now these are the various differences between structured programming languages and what next one? Object oriented programming languages. That's okay, clear. Understand this point now. Next one is after completion of this particular question, coming to the next question. Come on, guys. Now all of you observe this clearly now. What is the requirement to use aspect oriented programming languages over object oriented programming languages? This is a question here. Right, sir. Right, sir. The bottom up approach or top down approach, they are not respective to programming languages. They are respective to the compilers what they are following. The parsing mechanisms. And two types of parsing mechanisms are available. Almost 4 to 5 types are available. Where one of the parsing mechanism is like which one? Bootstrap parsing mechanism. Next one is a bottom up parsing mechanism. Next one is a top down parsing mechanism. The parsing mechanisms are available, but they're not respective to which one? Programming languages. Some programming languages will use like which one? Some might be bottom up, or some other programming languages are using top down. That's different. That's not related to which one? Programming languages. Right, sir. So, sir, parsing is not related to this topic and might be. Sachin has asked this question. That's why I replied for it. Just leave it. Not required. There is Sachin. Right. Next one is then after that, after completion of this particular content here, what is the requirement to use aspect oriented programming languages over object oriented programming languages? Right, sir. As one point I'm telling to all of you clearly. Listen, all of you listen carefully. One point I'm telling to you. Aspect oriented programming languages aspect oriented programming languages, this name is a wrong name. This is a wrong word. This is wrong word. This is misterminology. Aspect oriented programming languages is a misterminology. Yes, sir? Aspect oriented programming languages is a misterminology. How, sir? How can you say it's a misterminology? Object oriented programming languages, this is right terminology. This is right. This is perfect. That word is perfect. But aspect oriented programming languages is the wrong word. How? How can you say like this? Yes, I'm able to give one fact. Object oriented programming languages is the right word. Why? Because number of programming languages were defined, number of programming languages were designed on the basis of object orientation. On the basis of object orientation, number of programming languages are defined. Say for example C++, say for example Java, say for example Pascal, say for example and C#, like this. Number of programming languages are available on the basis of object orientation. That's why there are object oriented programming languages. That's good. But no programming language is existed. No programming language is existed on the basis of aspect orientation. No programming language is existed on the basis of aspect orientation. Good. Okay, sir. Good. Aspect oriented programming language is a misterminology. Why? Because no programming language is available. That's fine. Good. But what is aspect orientation? What is right terminology? Aspect oriented programming languages is a wrong terminology. But what is right terminology? Right terminology is like which one? No. Aspect orientation. Aspect orientation is a right terminology. Aspect orientation is a right terminology. Observe this clear now. Aspect orientation is the right terminology. What is this aspect orientation? That's my question. What is this aspect orientation? Right. I'm giving answers to you clearly. Understand this clearly. No. Aspect orientation. Aspect orientation. Guys, 1 minute. Wait. Wait 1 minute. No. I'll clarify. 1 minute. Wait. Sir, right, all of you there, guys? Guys, all of you there? Yeah. Right, sir. That's okay. No. Just I muted. Right, 1 minute after. Right, sir. No problem here. Now, after this clearly, what is the point here? I'm discussing with you clearly. Now, the point is like which one? Object orientation. Object orientation is a methodology. All of you observe this clearly, no? Aspect orientation, not object orientation. Aspect orientation is a methodology and a set of rules and regulations, or we may think a set of guidelines, or a set of guidelines. Maybe anything. Good. Okay, fine. Aspect orientation is not programming. That means no programming languages exist on the basis of aspect orientation. So aspect oriented programming languages is a wrong word, wrong terminology. But what is this aspect orientation? Aspect orientation is a methodology or a set of rules and regulations or a set of guidelines which are applied on object oriented programming. Please recognize my point now. Which are applied on object oriented programming languages. Object oriented programming. That's it. Object oriented programming in order to improve shareability and reusability. In order to improve shareability and reusability. This is what exactly the meaning of like which one? Aspect orientation. Strictly speaking, aspect orientation in the sense object oriented programming only. Object oriented programming only. But over this object oriented programming, a set of guidelines or a set of rules and regulations or a set of or a methodology will be applied in order to improve shareability and reusability. Right, sir. Then how, sir? How it is now? Yes, I will give one example. Try to put more concentration. This is almost all advanced concept I'm going to discuss with you. Then try to put more concentration here. What I'm going to provide to you. Right, sir. Java is not aspect orientation. Java is object orientation only. But over this Java, some aspect oriented features will be applied in order to improve reusability and in order to improve shareability. Right, sir. Listen carefully. Now I will take one simple diagram. Now try to observe this diagram, all of you know. Sir, all of you observe this clearly. I want to provide two applications I want to prepare. Two applications here I want to prepare. Right, sir. This is like which one here? Application 1. And this is like which one? Application 2. Overall, two applications are existed. Listen carefully. In the case of this object orientation, if you want to prepare applications in object orientation, we have to provide business logic and services logic in a combination. Business logic and services logic we have to provide in a combination. Observe carefully. So observe this clearly. No, authentication. This is one service. What is service and what is business? I will clarify to you know. But first of all, understand it. Authentication. Next one is like which one can know? Business logic is provided here. Next one is like which one can know? Authorization. This is one service. Then after that, business logic here we are able to provide. Then after that, other thing is like which one? Data validations. This is one service. Now here business logic here we are able to provide. In general, in object orientation style, if you observe there, in object orientation style, business logic and as well as services logic both will be provided in a combined fashion. Both will be provided in a combined fashion. That means in an integrated mode, both the business logic and services logic both will be provided. In this diagram, application 1, application 2, both are prepared on the basis of like object orientation. In both the applications, no, services and as well as business logic both are integrated. This is object orientation style basically. Good, sir. Now I'm able to explain some problems with this mechanism. What are the problems, Kerno? Guys, all of you respond for my question now. All of you respond for my question now. Now tell me, all of you now tell me, how many applications here I'm preparing now? I prepared how many applications now? Tell me, all of you know. How many applications here I prepared now? Tell me. 2 applications I prepared. Very clear. 2 applications I prepared. Now tell me, at each and every application, what are the various services I have used there? Now tell me. At both applications, which services I have used? Now tell me. What are the various services I have used at both the applications? Now tell me. Come on, guys. Now you have to answer for it now. Services are which one? Services are which one? Authentication, authorization, data validations. All these are like which one? Services. So now I want to give clarity. What is service? Authentication, authorization, data validation. I want to say it's a service. Then what is this service now? Nothing, sir. Very clear. In general, authentication and authorization or data validation, they are the 3 actions, 3 tasks or 3 things must be required at each and every application. These 3 are required at each and every application. So that commonly implemented tasks in every application, commonly implemented things in every application is called as like which one? A service that may be provided by developer, that may be provided by which one? Or some third party. But in general, if any third party is providing this kind of services, no, that we are going to use them in our application. The logic we are going to include in our application. Or maybe in some situations, developers may provide their services logic. Commonly implemented task at each and every application, they are called as which one? Basic services. That's it. Understand my point? What I'm telling you. Next one is, what is business logic? Application, that means services logic we understood is common to everybody. So commonly implemented tasks in all the applications, they are nothing but in general, the terminology is called as which one? A service. Authentication is required. Say for example, if you open facebook.com, if you open gmail.com, if you open like which one? yahoomail.com. Not only this, if you go for flipkart.com or if you go for might be some other, every application nowadays authentication is required. Authentication is required, and authorization is required, data validation is required. So all these are like which one? Services in general in every application. So context is different. In other contexts, other definitions are available, but here itself we can understand like which one? No, a service. Yes, of course, OTP is also a service. For example, Durgasoft is required some banking services now. We are getting some services from Axis Bank. That is also a service. So n number of meanings are available for this service now. But here we have to understand, in more than one module, if any action is commonly required action is available, that we provided commonly for all modules, that is nothing but which one? Services. Leave it clearly. But what is this business logic, sir? All of you observe this clearly. One example I'm telling you. What is this business logic actually? Say for example, I'm preparing a website for Durgasoft. I'm preparing one application for Durgasoft, website application for Durgasoft. Durgasoft has given an information to me as part of their business. Durgasoft is my client now. Durgasoft said to me, "You are preparing application for me, so we have a business rule." What is that business rule of Durgasoft? No, Durgasoft is giving business rule to me. In the courses registration process, if the student is completely new student for Durgasoft, 100% payment he has to pay through online. That's one thing. But if that existed student is available, already he studied one course at Durgasoft already. Now he want to register for second course. If it is the case, then Durgasoft is giving 50% off in the next course. 50% off in the next course. That means 50% is a concession in the next course cost. This is Durgasoft rule, what they are having inside this their business. They are giving this business rule to me. As I'm preparing application for Durgasoft, I have to recognize that business rule. I have to maintain that business rule as part of my application. Please remember this point. this rule, this business rule, and this task is specific to Durgasoft only. That is not specific to other institutes at Hyderabad. Other institutes may not give, but Durgasoft is giving that. That rule here we have to manage in our application. So this is specific to client. Client is specific requirement. So that I have to implement as part of our application. This is exactly called as like which one? A business implementation. It's called as like which one? Business implementation, where we are going to provide some logic. That logic is called as which one? No, business logic. Say for example, another example I'm telling to all of you guys. Now try to understand it now. If you go for banks, for example, banks, I want to take a loan, home loan I want to take. If I contact with Axis Bank, they are giving 5.5% interest rate. And if I contact with ICICI Bank now, and they are giving interest rate is like which one they know, say for example 3.5. If I contact with the HDFC, if I approach this HDFC bank there, they are giving like which one, just 3 rupees might be, and 3.2 or 3.5, something else, they are giving some interest rate. Observe this, we are not having any constant interest rate now. But if I want to prepare application for Axis Bank now, first I need to identify what exactly the loan process is going in at Axis Bank and how much is an interest rate. I have to recognize that. As per that only I have to implement my program for this Axis Bank. But when I'm preparing an application for HDFC, there I have to understand what exactly that interest rate they are providing. As per that only I have to prepare my application again. So here that interest rate is varied from one bank to another bank or not. So this is exactly called as like which one? Business logic. This is exactly called as which one? No, business logic. But authentication is required in all bank applications. Authorization is required in all bank applications. Data validations are required in all bank applications. Security is required separately in all bank applications. But they are commonly used for each and every bank. So they are nothing but services now. But bank specific, that client specific requirement we are implementing, that is exactly called as which one? No, like business logic. Guys, all of you are getting clarity on this business logic and services logic. No, in this particular context, these are the terminologies. But if you go for some other at enterprise level, at some other level, there maybe depending on the context, the definitions are going to be varied. But at present, we have to understand what is business logic and what is the services logic. Now tell me, all of you now tell me, how many applications we are executing, sir? Now tell me, no. How many applications we are executing? Please confirm to me. Give prompt answers to me. How many applications we prepared? No, 2 applications we are executing. That's fine. Very clear. Yeah, very clear. Next, coming for my application. Coming for my next question now. Overall, 2 applications here we are executing in overall in both the applications. Overall in both the applications, how many copies of services we are using now? Tell me now. 2 applications we are running in both the applications. How many copies of services we are using? Think about it. Authentication, authorization, and data validations are a single copy. Authentication, authorization, and data validation is a single copy of services. But 2 applications we are using. So 2 applications we are using as overall in 2 applications. How many copies of services I'm using? 2 copies of services we are using or not? Not a 6, sir. I'm telling to you, authentication, authorization, and data validation is 1 copy. So 2 copies of services here we are using or not? Come on, guys. Everybody has to recognize my point. 2 copies of services here we are using or not? Yes, 100% 2 copies of services here we are using. That's fine. Yeah, as it is. But if you follow object orientation for 100 applications, if you follow object orientation for 100 applications, if you follow object orientation, now tell me how many copies of services we have to manage? No, if you provide 100 applications on the basis of object orientation, how many copies of services here we have to follow there? We have to provide there 100 copies of services here we are able to follow or not? 100 copies of services here we have to follow or not? But some people are saying 1 copy. How it is no? What I am telling you, in the last 5 minutes onwards, I am giving the same point now. 2 applications, 2 copies of services we maintain. 100 applications in the sense, how many copies of services we have to maintain now? 1 copy we want to maintain now. If it is 1 copy at object orientation itself, if it is 1 copy, what is the requirement to go for aspect orientation now? Before giving answer, you have to think about it. Why we are giving answer like this? So here, for 100 copies, for 100 applications, no, how many copies of services here we have to provide? 100 copies of services here we provided. When we provide 100 copies of services, no, for 100 applications, where we maintain reusability and where we maintain code shareability. Now tell me, no, where we achieve this shareability and where we provided reusability. 100 applications, 100 copies of services, where we maintain reusability and where we maintain shareability. Are you getting this reusability and shareability here in this particular context? No, we are not getting any reusability and shareability in this particular situation. Right? Exactly in this particular situation, exactly in this particular requirement to improve reusability, to improve shareability, aspect orientation was introduced. In this particular situation, to improve reusability, to improve shareability, aspect orientation was released. Aspect orientation is existed. Right now, to improve reusability, to improve shareability, I want to apply aspect orientation over my object oriented program. I want to apply aspect orientation over my object orientation to improve reusability and shareability. All of you observe this clearly now. How we are able to implement it? Guys, just 5 minutes of time. Put more concentration. I'm going to talk very good point now. Listen, all of you listen carefully. Right. Aspect orientation I'm going to apply over both the technologies, both the applications. Now try to understand it now. Right, sir. What I'm telling to you as for this aspect orientation, first of all, go to both the applications now. Whatever the services we have used there, try to separate the services from our application. Whatever the services here we are using, try to separate these services from our applications. Authentication is service, I separated this. Authorization is a service, I separated this. In the second application also we have to remove it. Data validations is one of the service now, we have to separate it. That's it. Data validations is one of the service, we have to separate it. As we separated from second application also. Then after getting this data validations as a separate thing now, after separating all the services from our application of business logic, then what we have to do now, declare each and every service as an aspect. Declare each and every service as an aspect. Right, sir. We can observe this clearly now. Authentication is an aspect. So I want to say like which one? Authentication aspect, or I can specify like which one? No, aspect 1, for example. Authorization aspect. We may call it as like which one? Authorization aspect, or we may call it as like which one? Aspect to some, anyway, some aspect. Data validations here is like which one? Aspect 3, for example. Then what I'm telling to you, whenever we completed this part here, whenever we declare these aspects, no, what's the meaning of what exactly the after declaration of this aspect, no, what we have to do, execute our applications. When we execute our applications, try to inject these aspects into the applications at the runtime. It's not like a code injection, it's like service injection. Wherever we require these aspects, no, try to inject that aspects into like which one? No, the respective code, respective business logic. Just we are going to inject this service to the respective location. Right, sir. Here also we are going to inject a service to the like which one? No, respective location. All of you observe this clearly now. What is the meaning of injecting these services? I will explain to you effectively. No need to worry for that. So here also we injected the service to the respective location. How we are able to inject it now? Either by using XML document or by using annotations, we are able to inject these services to the respective location. Okay. After specifying these services locations and applications, no, what it is going on here? What exactly is going on? Whenever we are executing this program, application 1, when a flow of execution is coming to this particular join point, immediately flow will come to aspect 1. Aspect 1 will be executed. Again, flow of execution is coming back to which one? No, application 1 and executing business logic. Similarly, when application 2 is executed parallelly, when it encounters this particular join point, it will come to this aspect 1 and execute it and coming back to which one? No, application 2 and business logic. And both the applications are running parallelly. Whenever application 1 reaches to this particular join point now, immediately flow will come to aspect 2 and executed that, and again coming back to like which one? Application 1. So here also, in the case of this application 2, when it encounters this particular node, it will come to application 2 and executing that and coming back to like which one? Application 2. Like this, all this, whenever we are executing this flow of execution, wherever we identified this particular join points now, then there coming to this aspect and executing it and coming back to which one? No, respective application. This is what exactly the meaning of like which one? No, aspect and aspect orientation. Sir, if you get my point or not? Right, sir. No, aspects is a program. That's it. Don't think at present it's a class or package or something else. Not required. There are such a. Yes, I'm telling you, it's a program. It's a task. That's it. Not more than that. Right, sir. So of course, we may think about it as a dynamic link or different terminologies. That doesn't matter. No issues there. But while executing our program, just we are giving our services to both the applications. It's not like a code injection. It's not like code injection. Just whenever we are executing that programs, no, when they identified a particular join point, at that join point directly that flow will come to which one aspects, and that aspects will be executed, and flow of execution is again coming back to which one, no, applications clearly. Right, sir. Now, in this scenario, now tell me how many applications maybe 2 applications, or maybe 50 applications, or maybe 100 applications. No, all these 100 applications, even though we are executing, if that application requires these aspects, no, definitely they will come to these aspects, they will execute them, and they are able to get services directly into their applications. Now, tell me, guys. I'm asking this question to all of you. Now, tell me, in this scenario, how many copies of aspects I've maintained here? No, how many copies here I provided for this aspects? No, only one copy or multiple copies? And still people are saying 3. I said to you clearly. So my meaning of copy in the sense authentication, authorization, and data validation is all together one copy. All together is one copy. I'm telling there. Right, sir. Now tell me now, how many applications here we are executing 2 applications, but both the applications are using one set of services or not? One copy of services or not? Only single set of services now. Now tell me, how many times they are using that? More and more number of times they are using or not? That means they are reusing the single copy or not? They are reusing single copy. They are reusing single copy in the sense reusability is available. Application by application, they are able to reuse that single copy, so reusability is available. Understand my point now? Okay, one more point. At a time, 2 applications are executing. At a time, a single copy is given, shared to both the applications at a time or not? Single copy of data will be shared to both the applications or not? So here also shareability here we improved. Reusability we are getting, and shareability also here we are getting. So this is what exactly the meaning of like which one? No, aspect orientation. This is the total awareness on like which one? Aspect orientation. Guys, I'm asking one question to all of you. Try to answer for it. My question is, what exactly the difference between object orientation and aspect orientation? Now tell me. What exactly the difference between object orientation and aspect orientation? Now tell me. Tell me, sir. What is the difference now? Question power. Now tell me, what is the difference you identified? Object orientation and aspect orientation. Nothing, sir. Why you are taking this much of time? I don't know. Very simple. Answer is very simple. In object orientation, what is the programming style? Just we are able to combine both the services and as well as business logic. Both the combination we are able to follow in the case of object orientation. But in the case of aspect orientation, what we are doing now? Services we are separating from business logic. Services we are separated from business logic. We declare the services. As an aspect, and we are able to share that aspects to multiple applications, and we can reuse the same aspects at multiple applications now. So reusability and shareability we are able to get from like which one? Aspect orientation. But the reusability and shareability are a bit low in the case of like which one? Object orientation. But when compared with the structured and when compared with unstructured programming languages, these object-oriented programming languages are having more shareability, more reusability. But more than that, if you want to have, then we have to compare like which one? Aspect orientation. Right, sir. So what is aspect-oriented program example? I said to you already, no programming language is available on the basis of this aspect orientation. Just it is a methodology. But I can give which things are using this aspect orientation and where we are able to use this aspect orientation. I can give an example. No programming language is available to use this aspect orientation, but nowadays frameworks are using this aspect orientation. Products are using aspect orientation. Number of servers are using aspect orientation. Number of frameworks are using aspect orientation. Best example I'm telling to you, Spring Framework is using aspect orientation. Spring Framework is using this aspect orientation. This is the best example. Spring Framework is using this aspect orientation. Now we are learning Core Java. After this Core Java, Advanced Java. Next one is Hibernate. Next one is Spring. That if you observe the Spring Framework, that Spring Framework is using effectively this aspect orientation. You can observe this clearly now. Now Spring Framework is able to manage all these aspects. On the basis of this Spring Framework, if we prepare more than one application, if we prepare these applications, no, automatically that single copy of this aspect orientation. The single copy of these aspects are shared to multiple applications, but this is managed by like which one? No? Spring Framework. All of you are getting my point or not? But at one side, one more point I'm telling to you, Spring Framework is having this much of demand. Spring Framework is having very good demand in outside because of aspect orientation also. Because of aspect orientation also. Number of reasons are available, but one of the reasons is which one? Aspect orientation. All of you understand this point clearly. Yes, aspects are nothing, sir. Internally Java code only. Internally object orientation only. Aspects are nothing. Aspects are internally Java code and object orientation code only. But where a mechanism is applied to improve shareability and reusability. So further purpose here we are telling like which one? No, aspect orientation is more than object orientation. But basically the coding part and everything is as per object orientation only. But a set of rules and regulations are applied over object oriented programming in order to improve reusability and shareability. That's it. Good. That's it. I'm using Spring. Can you please explain, give an example how Spring is using? Dear Sachin, do you know the total Spring framework? Do you know AOP module in Spring framework? Now tell me. Dear Sachin, I'm asking to you know. Do you have any awareness on AOP? But how can I explain now? If you're not aware about it, then AOP module is totally aspect orientation. AOP module is totally aspect orientation. Which part of Spring you are using in our project now? Tell me. There is Sachin. Which part of Spring framework you are using in our project? The Spring Boot you are using. Okay, fine. But if you observe this Spring Boot now, inside the Spring Boot, auto wiring concept is available. There we are injecting normal concepts now. In the similarly, in the case of auto wiring, instead of doing like which one? No. Anyway, then that is not best example. If you go for AOP model, there internally the concepts are available, sir. Like which one here now, and method around aspects. Some terminology is totally different. Aspects are available, endpoints are available, join points are available. All these things are available. But if you know AOP, then we can identify all these points now. But directly in Spring Boot, we are not going to use explicitly, but internally they are going on. Okay, fine. Do you aware about that security in a Spring Boot? Spring Boot security, do you aware about it? There is Sachin. No response. Yeah, leave it. If you're not working on it, how can I explain that? No. Leave it here. But now we are asking about Spring Framework concept in core Java class now. But example point of view, taking that Spring Framework, but how it is running in the sense, but we need to have total awareness on it. Then only I can explain that. Anyway, come for Spring class. There I can explain clearly now. Right, sir. Leave this concepts now. Okay, guys. Now this is like which one? No? Aspect orientation. Then what exactly the content about like which one? Aspect orientation. The point here I've given clarity. Right, sir. This is okay, fine. This is the content here. What exactly the points I'm telling you. Right, sir. Clear. And next concept after completion of these types of programming languages, the next concept is like which one? Object oriented features. What are the various object oriented features are available? All right, all these things here we are going to list out and we are going to understand all these object oriented features. Right, so then tomorrow I will discuss about these object oriented features. Now within 5 to 10 minutes of time, I want to take that 7:30 session here. 7:30, that means core Java. Today I'm going to start like which one? Steps to prepare first application, how to download Java software, how to install Java software, and all these steps here I'm going to be discussing with you today. Now try to understand it clearly now. Python comes in which paradigm? That is a question now. Python is following both the procedure orientation and object orientation. Object orientation is available and function oriented features are available. Both are available inside this. So we can identify this clearly now. That's it. Yeah, Nikita, then one day, just wait one day of time, then I will settle that issue. Yeah, then videos issue, I'm talking there already, just I'm discussing with them. So I will maybe within one day, you are able to, we are not going to get any problem. I think so max members are already getting that videos there and 6 o'clock batch. I think so they settled that issue also, no, but for some of them, they are not coming. Yes, max, all the members are getting that, I think so. So that patterns topic I will discuss there. Just I'll give the time now. Just casual 1 or 2 examples I discussed on the day. I said to you, again I want to take it now. Take Anisa ma'am. Then I said under the class I given just temporarily I'm discussing about patterns now. Complete patterns I will discuss again now. That information already given. Again you are raising the same point now. Okay guys, that's fine. And then within 5 minutes I will open like which one. Spring class, what all you will cover, sir. And where to go for our website there where the total syllabus is available. Up to microservices, we are going to have Spring content. There is session. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Within 5 minutes, I'll come back for the 7:30 class, guys. And those who are new members today, yesterday, day before yesterday, and previously those who attended it, like which one, 7:30 class, we can come in the same link. We can come within 5 minutes. I will come back now. That's it. Right. And don't discuss out of syllabus, sir. Then this is a problem here. When people are asking about other technologies. Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Within 5 minutes, I'll open that 7:30 class. Just use the same link and try to attend for 7:30 class. Don't go for old link and try to use the same link. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Aishwar, please complete it. Yeah, please, please. So, are you taking any class in morning in the sense? Other core Java batch is going on at 11:30. That's almost 60 to 70% of syllabus is completed already. But a new batch in the sense, it may take some time. I'll give that intimation to you. No, it's not like this. Yeah. Yes, yes, Priyanka. Core Java plus advanced Java total and up to like which one web services, but the 2 courses if you attend parallelly, maybe complete it around 7 to 8 months of time. Thank you, Aishwar. Yes, Priyanka. Then separate batches, no, just one time talk with the admin people, they'll give clarity. Yeah, yeah. That will be fee related things, just one time talk with the admin people, they'll give clarity. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.